All right, man. Well, thank you, Tom, for signing on to do this grand experiment.
Great
So
to be here.
it's kind of exciting because finally, after many years of doing this practice, I was able to open the Guitar Dojo Skills Academy this week. And this is part of the immersive thing. Like, I think a lot of our conversations that you and I have had, I mean, we've been working together for a while, bubbled up just as a natural result of dealing with guitar in our lives in general, whether it's practicing or practice planning or, of course, gear,
Here, right? Yep.
concerts, stuff like that. So we'll just take this time to address some interesting tidbits, factors. We're all adults here, and we all have to carve out time to enjoy this. So tell me about last night. You're showing up for this today after a pretty big night. Tell me a little bit about the concert.
Sure. Well, it was Jerry Cantrell's Brighton tour, Kansas City.
Killer
Um,
player, absolutely
Killer
killer.
player. Band was tight, harmonies spot on, like they would be. It was pretty much a no frills rock and roll show. And nice backdrop lighting. Um, More impressive, or
Yeah.
was the lack of modelers on stage? Real
So what
live
was
amplifiers.
he playing through his Friedman stuff?
Yeah, his Friedman was back behind, but you could see he had a wedge.
Was
But
it was it baffled?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then this other guitar player is playing through Marshall.
What
So
Friedman does he play?
well,
He's sick.
his signature model is JJ 100-watt Friedman.
100 watt. Did he
Yeah,
have the like? Can that thing go down
yeah.
to 20 or 40 or 60 or?
No, I think that one's a full blown 100. I have the 20-watt version, and that's
Which
great.
I am lusting after very badly.
Yeah,
It
it's got
was
a nice.
pull the trigger on that or pull the trigger on the 5150. So can't have both. But so,
Well, that's true.
so
But yeah,
he
no, I
was.
mean, it was a good show. It was nice to see. It's always good to see live music. Great crowd.
Does he have the rights to do the old Alice in Chains stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He did like 3 or 4 songs. He did Rooster. I think they did Wood, and I think they did Check My Brain if I remember correctly. But
Who was
from
his
from the
singer?
Alice. I can't even remember the dude. Well, he sings most of it, but he has got another cat that just sings harmony in his
Oh, he
touring band.
sings.
Jerry Cantrell sang, yeah, because it was all his solo stuff. So
Okay.
he's
So,
another guy
but
that
but when you hear Rooster on the album, it's Lane Staley, and then the current guy that sounds just like Lane Staley.
oh, William, yeah,
Yeah, he's really good.
yes, he's phenomenal.
He's unbelievable. So,
Yep. So yeah, so that was good. It's fun. It's always good
what
to see
was the
live music.
what was the turnout like? Because Alice in Chains is obviously like would get a gigantic turnout, but this is like when I went to see Buckethead, it was. I mean, obviously Jerry Cantrell's way more famous, but it's what you might call like a specialty crowd, mostly
Right.
filled with guitar players, honestly,
Yeah.
and their
It
spouses.
it was it was sold out, and the crowd was great. It's an interesting mixture of like people my age, younger,
Hmm.
little. I mean, there wasn't like super young folks, but like everybody that was there like knew the record, knew all the Alice stuff. So
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes you go to those concerts where it's like sometimes I think people just go to go. Like
of course.
I don't know anything about it, but I went.
Yep,
And but
yep.
yeah, it would be interesting to know the mix of guitar players that were in the crowd.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure most of them, right? I mean, at
yeah,
least, yeah.
what was kind of
Alice in
interesting.
Chains, like I've had a lot of students bringing in Alice in Chains lately,
Hmm.
uh, as like the gold. So my one student, Greg, brought in, I don't remember which song it was, but they're actually tuned to E flat standard drop D. So it's C sharp, drop
Yeah,
C sharp.
there's like 3 songs that I play that are like that with them. Yeah, Damn the
Yeah.
Rivers like that. Yep.
Dude, he's ripping. Like Jerry rips. Like I don't really. When you hear the list of top 50 guitarists of all time,
Hmm.
I don't know why there's such a blind eye toward that era. Like you just. I feel like maybe it's the influence of the great players born out of Woodstock, the great players born out of the blues era, the great players
Sure.
of the shred era. But like you would never think of Jerry Cantrell in the same thing as Eddie or like Kirk Hammett. It's
Right.
almost like that grunge, stoner rock, hard rock, like Alice in
Mhm.
Chains. I don't think is metal, but then I go back and listen to them. I'm like, yeah, that's
But
metal.
they're pretty. They're yeah. I would say out of the grunge bands, they're the most metal bands out of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you never hear about guitar. Like think of oh, I don't know. This is not the same genre, but think of REM, right?
Mm.
and some of the really tasteful guitar parts. That was it. Bill Berry, I
Peter,
think it was
like Peter Buck
Peter
guitar
Buck.
parts.
He
Yeah,
did. I think Mike Mills was,
the bass player.
yeah, and
Yeah,
Bill Berry was the
drummer.
drummer. Yeah, he had
Yeah,
a stroke, didn't he?
yeah.
And then they toured with another drummer for a while. Then they called the whole thing off. But listen to like to some of their stuff, like Underneath the Bunker or Flowers of Guatemala, like beautiful lyrical guitar parts
Hmm.
written in this band where it's really the typical 90s formula: guitar, bass, drums, and weird singer. So
Right.
I mean, beautiful guitar parts, and nobody ever brings them up.
Hmm.
And like Jerry, like people just don't. But he's got his own wah pedal. He's got his signature amps.
Yep. I have the
His
signature one.
guitar. What is that guitar of his? That's like ridiculously expensive.
Oh, that custom wino that he has. That's Les Paul
Gorgeous,
custom wine colored. Yeah, that thing's killer.
gorgeous.
That's killer. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
underrated
those
guitar
who
player.
know. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
I know exactly. It's kind of like though, those guys like write for the song. It's
yeah.
not all. But yeah, when they need to let loose, they
Oh my
definitely.
gosh, man, he can rip fast too. I was playing No More Tears last week, and that whole part where Zach Wild is super fast
Yes,
picking toward the second part of that solo.
I know
And
the one.
honestly, there's this repeating Jerry Cantrell lick in the song. If I played the lick, I'm sure you know the song.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm like, yeah, they're not that far apart. It's like Cantrell's making the choice to play less on purpose.
That's what I noticed last night a little bit. It's not that the other guitar player was doing more, but in actuality, he might have been just because Jerry was mainly vocals on this tour.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he did the majority of the singing, but it could have just been an illusion. But I was like, man, he's not doing a lot, but it's sounding big and huge, which
Yeah.
is kind of the point we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's heavy. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
probably more fun. That's probably more fun for him in a way, though. Like when he wants a solo, he can just say, "Hey, in this one, I'm going to
You're
take the
right.
whole part,"
Exactly.
right? So
Yep.
he's spent enough years not the boss. I think Alice and Chain still tours, don't they?
Yeah, I saw them this summer.
Yeah,
This last summer. They're bad.
cool. I'd like
Yeah,
to
they're
see
good.
them again.
Yeah, you would enjoy it.
I saw
Cool.
them in a very, very small place when they first came back with that new singer William. I
Hmm.
saw them in an armory, like a small armory here in Albany that like built weapons for the Civil War.
Oh, really? That would
It's
have been
like,
cool.
and then it became a basketball court for this local, basketball team we had. And then, yeah, they would just try to fill it. They'd have goth night, rock night, metal night. And
Mhm.
then I'm like, Alice in Chains? It was their first tour after Lane died.
They're
It was,
like Guns N' Roses, right?
yeah, like, and they,
Vanilla
and
Skin.
it wasn't even that well attended. It was
Yeah.
like their first time back after Lane died.
Oh, right.
Who was
Yeah.
this? Wasn't there another singer there that also died? Or am I thinking of Linkin
No,
Park?
their bass player died.
Okay.
Mike Starr. Yeah, he passed away after Lane did.
Yeah. Tough life on the road, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I
You
mean,
gotta.
that's the thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, it's a family killer and a widow maker music.
There you go.
Maybe that's why some of my students come in and they're like, "Well, I couldn't practice, is like just so many things in life getting in the way of practicing." But that's awfully dark, isn't it, to call guitar playing a widowmaker and a family killer? Let's not do that. Let's
Let's not do that.
let's stop short there. Let's stop at that.
Just call it. You need some my time, or
Yeah, with a mai tai, my time with the
there
mai
you
tai.
go. Exactly.
Um,
But yeah, I
picks,
mean, you got
man. Let's talk
picks.
about picks.
All right.
Everybody needs a guitar pick. Well, not Andre Segovia did not need a guitar pick.
No, he did not.
No, and many other players. But for picks, this has been coming up a lot in lessons lately. It's fun to teach. I have almost 50 students at this point of one-on-one, and I will tell you, many people bring up the same topic. For example, picks. What pick you use, different kinds of picks for acoustic guitar, different picks for electric guitar, different
Yep.
picks based on how often you drop them, how they
Okay.
slip out of your hand. if you want to shred Metallica, it's going to be a different pick than strumming Johnny Cash. It's just the way life is.
Correct.
So let me ask you, when you want to play single note lines, I mean like solo, like heavy stuff, what do you grab?
Right now, it's the Dunlop Ultex Sharp 1.14s
Okay.
with a little bit of
Do
grip
you
tape on it.
do you put that tape on?
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, the old, yeah, I know old text, right. I've got one of their Flex here, which is weird.
Actually,
but
yeah, just kind of cut it and
there it is.
Yep.
Nice.
But
Nice.
that's what I'm using. It seems like a good weight for me. I've always played 1.14s pretty much on electric
Okay.
forever.
I have. Yeah. Did you ever play these Dunlop Flex? It's almost like they're empty in the middle. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, this is the wedge, but I know what you're talking about, the Flex.
When you gig, and I do this when I gig, I have this thing, my little pick container, and it's a really hard thing if you get pulled over to say, no, officer, it's just my picks.
Exactly.
Officer, I swear. Yeah, we're gonna have to look in that pedal board, sir. I swear it's just my picks. But this is the land of picks. What do you have a pick container?
I don't. I have one at home, but for gigging, I just usually load up my pocket.
See?
Or have like a Ziploc bag, but I then obviously just take a handful, put them on top of the amp.
You got to be careful though, because I have many times had them go into the valley of death in the car between the seat and the center console, where they just come out of the pocket while I'm driving, and then I go to grab it at the gig, and we're in trouble. We're in a lot.
The valley of death in our house is the wash machine.
Well, there you go.
That's where they all come out.
So what do you got? Is that like your thing you go to all the time, or is that thing that Ultex is for when you want to get some speed going?
I was kind of, it's interesting we're talking about picks. I've just kind of been vacillating between these Dunlop flows too.
Did you say you use Vaseline on your pick?
Vacillating. Vacillating between.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, he's hip to something new. He's got some Vaseline on his.
And then I put grip tape on it so they don't come out of my hand. So yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Counterproductive, but it seems logical.
So all right. But if you're, do you grab a different pick based on like what you're gonna do, what you're gonna practice, or no? You just grab your favorite.
No, pretty much. Unless it's acoustic guitar, then I change it up a little bit. But if it's electric, it's just kind of. I think as guitar players, we always just go through like, oh, this is my favorite pick. Now this is my favorite pick. Now this is my favorite pick. At least I do.
I think we should timestamp. We should timestamp things you say as to why you're successful. Ladies and gentlemen, if anyone's watching this, one of the reasons Tom is successful is because he doesn't F around with a bunch of different shit. He has what he likes, okay? Look, are you going to play or are you going to fiddle fart around with settings, right? So you grab your pick and you play. Me, on the other hand, I go through this like, and so this pick constructed in the year 1952. So this style became popular upon the proliferation of them. Like, good, I've got this whole tin of picks, but it's an illness. You know that. This is an illness. I'm as bad as you are. James Hetfield White Fang.
Yeah,
for when I want to throw down if I'm doing anything in the world of thrash or metal. This is not going to be playing solos. This is going to be like, drop C, drop D, rhythm parts only. James Hetfield White Fang with the grippy thing built in. Like you don't have to buy separate. The grip tape's already on there. It's invisible. Fender medium for almost everything else because it doesn't fall out of my old man hands. It's they have like that, whatever fake. What's it called? Something celluloid.
Oh, right.
Celluloid picks or whatever they're called. This thing is for sweeping. You see, I'm sick. It's not great. This is one of those new attack picks everybody's trying to play. Okay. So it's beveled. Like
Jazz 3.
Well, your hand goes into this depression on either side, so they don't fall and they don't spin in your hand.
Nice.
And then for general teaching, anything except chords, I use a Jazz 3. You see, that's the thing. I'm changing too many variables, man.
Well, then you can also just talk about the composition, the material of the pick changes everything too. Like I find the Ultex
Yeah.
is a little more percussive. It's all, amp settings.
You
I
ever
don't know.
you ever record something like you're practicing something and you hear the pick hit the strings and it's raspy? You're
Yeah.
like, oh, why is that? See,
Yes.
there's no rasp to jazz. There's no
Because
rasp. It's like playing with a
right.
tennis ball. Like it's all fuzzy. But a Fender medium can get raspy on an acoustic if you're not hitting the string like dead on.
Mm-hmm.
You got to
Sure.
hit that string dead on. But if you start to do this on an acoustic, you're going to get that rasp or that rattle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
With
question is,
shape pick material, I mean, pick dynamics. It's amazing what the pick can do.
do you ever turn it around and use the fat end?
Not intentionally. Nope.
All right.
How about you?
Yeah, if I want to get less roll off, I'm gonna grab a guitar. I'm probably gonna play very poorly, but here's what the fat end of the pick sounds like when I want to get a nice. That's the fat end. Here's the thin end. So I don't know. Maybe that cut out,
No, I could hear it.
but
Yeah, the difference in the dynamics for sure.
and then the thin end gets that. It's really different dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
guess
for
is
sure.
what it is.
Yes, I would agree.
So.
Cool.
All right. So now when you get to acoustic, what do you got for that?
Acoustic, I'm using just these wedges, 1.14s.
Damn. 1.14 on acoustic.
Yeah, always a 1.1, but that's I should probably restate that I usually drop down to a 1.0 to be honest.
So
For
you're so 1 point, yeah, it's still on acoustic. Are you strumming or are you picking like single string stuff? Like,
drumming and picking.
wow. God bless you.
I mean, I don't know. Works for me.
Well, it works for you. That's what it's all about. See, and I'm over here personally on acoustic. I gotta go Fender medium or I gotta go Jim Dunlop. The Jim Dunlop acrylics.
Right. Yeah, start it on. How am I doing?
Oh my.
Anyhow.
So
we're not tuned during the show.
So do you find like I always find when I use a pick 0.85 or more on acoustic, it kicks back in my hand pretty bad. So
yeah, I mean, I would try a lighter gauge for me, just to see. But just
do you have like a historic pick, like a pick you played all your gigs with that you kept?
I don't. I have some pretty gnarly ones that got all rounded off from playing.
Yeah, exactly right.
Like this one. I mean, you can't even tell like what's the right side.
What is that a flow?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but
Those things are beautiful.
Yeah, it got pretty. I mean, here's a.
Okay.
That,
yeah.
And that. Yeah. So. Yep.
That's a good sign, man. This is reason number 2 why Tom is successful. He plays guitar so much that he wears out his guitar picks.
Right.
Another reason why. This is another. I have
I actually like it when it gets like that. It's kind of like a sign of an achievement. Like
well, plus it actually when you're doing your sweeps and your single note lines, or you may be trying to rip off some licks, or like so. Here's a. I kind of have one a bit like that. It's actually the Jazz 2, the red one, and it's super blunt now. And I find like when they get to that age, it's really easy to do sweeping and like same pick and stuff. So
they're almost better, I think, sometimes.
I think they are. I'll buy that.
It's like, okay, well, this is how it's wearing and how it's comfortable. I try to trying to keep playing them, to be honest, and just kind of. And it's funny when you switch to a new pick and it's like, wow, that's really pointy now.
Can you imagine what, I mean, I think you can find them, but can you imagine what Stevie Ray's picks on those like 13s or whatever would be after a few gigs? I mean, I think he used a heavy, like a Fender heavy.
Or Malcolm Young. They say he used to shred picks too. Just cranking out that rhythm.
Yep.
Madman. Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Those strings. Oh my God.
Yeah. Craziness.
got to play a peso like Billy Gibbons.
I've been there and tried it. Have you well,
I've tried it. It was horrible.
back to the valley of death in the car. The craziest thing I ever used as a pick was a tiddlywink. Do you ever remember that game, Tiddlywinks?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, oh, yeah, I didn't have any picks left, and I found one of my son's tiddlywinks from when he was a baby, like under the car seat. So I
Nice.
was crawling around on my hands and knees in the parking lot, looking under the seat of the car, and I found a chip from the game, and I had to play. Talk about raspy. Yeah, I was playing
Yeah.
acoustic that gig.
Oh.
I mean, it worked.
Hmm.
It worked. So I guess you could use a dime or a penny.
Yeah.
I
Anything
don't
in a
know about
pinch.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or a tiddlywink.
Yep. They work. They
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's picks. I mean, so do you see how we could spend an entire half an hour on picks?
Exactly. Easily.
And I mean, this level of geekery, but it's acceptable in the world of guitar. It's acceptable. We think about the
People talk
consumerism
about it all
side of
the
it.
time.
Well, dude, and then you go to if you live near a guitar center or a local mom and pop, if you're lucky, they have like a little thing where you can buy one pick to try it.
Right.
The little, like, it's like a fishing tackle box, and they open the thing and
Hmm.
it's got all your little
Yep.
flies and tackle in there. So they do that, and then it's like incredibly price gouged, like $1 a pick, but you can get a pack of 15 for 3.89. So there's that. But while you're at the guitar store, what should we hit first with consumerism? What do you want to do today? I'll throw some topics out. Modeling amps and spending all amount of farting around when you should be practicing. There's that, or there's post-COVID proliferation of foreign-made guitars on a budget. There's that.
We
What
can
do
do
you
the
got
first one on modelers. That's easy.
for you? You don't use them.
I have them. I have a Kemper.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Well,
had, I had a Kemper. I have a Pod Go, and I just sold a Line 6 FX.
you still have the Pod Go?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the newer version.
well, let me
Not
know
the
if you want to. Let me know if you want to sell it.
Okay. I might
I
actually.
still I still got the Pod 2.0. I got the kidney, shaped Pod 2.0, to the
Right.
extent that I just bought an ancient foot controller for it, and it hooks up to the pod with an Ethernet cable, a Cat 5.
Right. Oh yeah. No, I remember. Because I somehow ended up with two of those at one point, and I sold them probably a year ago. Didn't get very much
Wow.
for them,
What,
but
the
they still.
kidney? The kidney?
Yeah.
No, they're
Yeah.
like 70, $80. Have you seen
Yeah.
Ola England's
Yeah. Can you get it to chug?
you know what? He put it through some impulse response models in his DAW, and I mean it sounded really good. He's like, without the
Mm.
impulse response, not so good.
Right.
Impulse response, he's like, this thing still kills after all these
Well,
years.
who was it? Was it who did that? Was it?
Oh, everybody that made an album
It
in
was either Richard
2002.
Fortas or Phil X or somebody played a gig. Oh no, it was Pete Thorne played a gig in like Brazil way back when with just that to like an
Okay.
open air festival. That's all he brought.
He went right
It
to
was,
the board, huh? Yeah.
he's like, that's all I brought.
I mean, I gotta tell you, it. I think it takes pedals really, really well. So I've been tempted to get the Pod Go, the new one.
Mhm.
It has a pedal on it, so you can do your expression pedal right there.
Right, exactly.
And you
Yeah.
can, like, yeah, I mean, they're fun, right? But do you use it?
No, I mean, like we were saying earlier, I own a Kemper. I used it for a while, but it's just, and I run it through, the powered monitor, the FF
So
whatever.
with the Kemper, let me ask you this, because this is some confusion for me. And if folks don't know what we're talking about, so like in amp modeling, you have these things that act like other things. So
Right,
you,
exactly.
you have electronic instruments that act like famous things from the past, present, and possibly future. So you can conjure up tones of your favorite performers or make your own. And when you use the Kemper, here's what I heard about Kemper. You had to load in the tones you wanted by making the Kemper put sounds through your amp, and it would record the way sounds ping through your amp to calibrate. In the early days of Kemper, it would like send impulses into your amp and then it would listen to those impulses and get the character. So if you want your Kemper to
Right.
sound like a 6505, you'd put it into you'd have it listen. It would send signals and pings into your 6505, come out the speakers, and it would then know how to emulate it. So is that still the deal?
Well, you can capture your favorite amp. Like if I wanted to run, whatever, my Friedman through my 412, I could
Yep.
mic it up and I could capture that sound.
Okay.
That would be, I could take that with me wherever I wanted to go.
So is it
But there's
really
also
like it sends a signal through or something?
something like that. I don't know 100%, but I mean, it literally sits there and records it. There's a few steps. I haven't captured one, but there's tons of downloads too that, you can get an
So is that what
1830.
you use? You use it downloads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Can you dial
And
it in like physically or no?
on the board, you can. You got to go in, but you can. I have the gig board, so it's the one that's mounted on the floor.
Okay.
So you can go in, you can change parameters. I mean, you can link. It's just like anything else. You can put delay on it. You can put reverb.
All right.
You
You
switchable
can
in
put
and
a
out
pre or
effects.
post. You can do all sorts of
Yep.
EQs.
You can
If
even do four
you
cable method and just run the effects through your head if you wanted to.
if you went
It's
into the studio, like if you went to the studio today, if you got a call and you're like, hey man, we want you to lay down some tracks, or you have a project at home that you're doing, would you at this point be able to just grab the Kemper and go? Like, would you use it?
No.
You're killing me. So you'd use your Friedman?
Could I see? I don't like futzing with buttons.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
don't
learned
either. I
through
know that's the
all the
thing.
modeling stuff. I don't want to go into sub programs. I don't want to go into
I
programs. I
know.
don't want to pre-post this and that. I'd rather just plug in. Here's my board. That's my head. You know what you're gonna get.
I think we found reason number 3. Again, it comes back to like just knowing what you like and making the focus on actually practicing the guitar and getting better as opposed to, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You just go down rabbit holes in life.
Yeah.
Just go
Spend
down
an
rabbit
hour
holes.
tweaking sounds or spend an hour playing.
I know, I'd rather play.
Me too.
But this thing, everything is so available now. I mean, I know I sound
I
old.
mean, I wouldn't get rid of my Kemper. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where
It's the kind of thing, once you
you
get
really
rid
got
of
to
it,
dedicate some time to it.
once you get rid of it, you might not buy it again. Like that's the kind of thing. Once it's
Right.
gone, it's gone.
Correct.
At one time I had 2 Bassmans, Fender Bassmans, and I would jump them.
Okay.
You can stack up as many Bassmans as you want. You can keep
Right.
channels from one to the next, and it's fine. And yeah, kind of hit hard times. Had to sell them. I had the '59 reissue LTD, and I had a non-reissue. And what are they? 410 each? They're 410s.
Oh, yeah.
412s. I think they're 410s.
Oof.
No reverb. And what I liked about the no reverb is that it's like less stuff to break.
Right.
You get this giant amp, they sound good.
Mm-hmm.
They sound real good. And there's just the volume. That's it. There's no master. So you just turn it up, man. You just turn it up and it gets fuzzy and hairy and amazing. Not a lot of headroom in those amps. Point being, I knew when I was selling them, I would never be able to buy 2 or even probably have the right occasion to buy 1 Bassman again. They did this thing, and they did this thing the best of anything out there,
Right.
But it's like if you want a really fast roadster that goes 0 to 60 in 4 point something seconds, that happens to be electric, your ass is buying a Tesla.
Right.
That's it. There's only one. There's only one Fender Bassman. And that was it. Once it's gone, man, it's gone sometimes.
Well, that's another topic for another time.
That is
gone that we wish we still had.
That is another
probably
topic.
about 5 hours.
All right. So Tom's rule number 3 for becoming an excellent guitarist is don't F around, just play. Just practice, man.
Play.
Oh,
I don't know.
geez.
I don't have the desire to go into those sub menus. Some people are really good at it. I'm not. I just don't have the time.
Yeah. I
Or
know.
I should say maybe not the time, the patience.
I get very reflective and esoteric like really quickly. And I heard somebody say a while ago, I was reading up about, I was a student success coach at a college for many years and an advisor. And this book I was reading said, what do you want people saying over your coffin when you're dead? I'm like, oh, that's awfully dark. And I was like, but actually, when that time comes, do you want to look back and say, wow, I really fiddle farted around for 5 years. That was a lot of fun. I ended up really wanting to play guitar, but all I did was get wrapped up going to Sweetwater, Sweetwater, or
Right.
researching like, well, now this vocal mic's got an XLR out, but can it make a slave of this mic? Or like, or did you spend your time playing and meeting people and having fun and connecting on music? Like, come on, man,
Mhm.
the clock is ticking, my friend.
Exactly.
Jeez, man.
Just think of like the '60s and stuff, and they were just experimenting with what they had. They didn't have a lot, so it was
Yeah.
be creative and
Yep.
what inspires you.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. I like to think about Hendrix at Woodstock. I think about him all the time. And I know like it's become very outmoded. Like, you could get those tones from your Podgo probably. You could get those Hendrix tones from something this big as opposed
right.
to a double stack.
Except all the coolness in his fingers.
Well, that's it. Try as you might. Try as you
Right.
might. Well, all right. I
For
got to shove
sure.
off and teach a
All
lesson,
right.
unfortunately. But we
Cool,
shall
man.
resume this conversation because you know what we have left. As part of modeling, I'd like to touch on if you dedicate 2 weeks to it,
Hmm.
could an individual, because think about saving money rather than spend 800 to 1,000 on a tube amp, you could walk in a Guitar Center and buy a katana for 249. At the most, the artist is $500 or 600, whatever. So could you dedicate 2 weeks and just say, I'm going to spend 2 weeks knobbing around, set my settings, make the patches, back the files up, and then just have fun? And if so, what kind of things are out there? I know I've owned a lot of them. You've owned stuff, so we'll hit
Yeah,
that back again
that'd be
very
interesting
soon.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
cool, man.
Cool, man. It
Oh, thank you for hopping in.
was fun.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
I'll
Sounds
talk
good.
to you
Tomorrow, actually.
tomorrow, actually. Yeah.
All
All right.
right.
You better start wearing out that pick now. It's
That's all from
3:30.
the European deal.
There you go. Good. Keep up the good
Cool.
work.
All right, man. Talk to you
All right.
tomorrow.
See ya.
Fun. All right,
Bye.
later. Bye.